He's a physiotherapist. So I wanted to ask him about injuries, how to prevent injuries. For me personally, I want to do Jiu Jitsu for the rest of my life. So what does training smart mean? How can I kind of avoid injuries and just keep going as long as I can, right? Is there a way to identify injuries before it becomes too serious? So it's quite a wide range, and I'm looking forward to kind of pick his thoughts about the subject. So Yasin, thank you. Would you like to give a?
Thanks,
would
man.
you like to
Thanks.
introduce yourself?
Thanks for your invite and nice initiative to bring up this topic for the Jiu-Jitsu community to know more about their body and how to improve. So, just a small intro on myself. I'm Yasin Tahkan. I'm from Mauritius. I used to study in Malaysia. So I did 6 years in Malaysia. I trained a bit on and off until last November. Then I left to Mauritius due to COVID and other reasons. So I couldn't find my career there. So yeah, I studied physio in Malaysia, and also I've been practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 12 years. So I seen Jiu-Jitsu injuries before I started physio. So I've been through injuries and tried to find myself how to rehabilitate from that. And also I've seen Jiu-Jitsu after I did physio. So after getting the knowledge of it as a physio, I saw how I got my injury and how to fix it. And the comparison before it between these two really shows me that how knowing your it's not only you need to do physio to understand what I want to tell to you guys, but just understanding your body, understanding how the training goes, how to be more build more awareness in your mind to know how is injuries happening, how to fix it, and how to prevent it. So having those knowledge will definitely help you in improving your jiu-jitsu in the future, and even get better performance in terms of competition or your own self improvement if you're seeking towards those kind of goals. So like just now I was telling, so I'll be talking mostly about BJJ injuries, what are the leading cause of injuries, when and where you will be getting it, the type of injuries, and also about briefly about the most common areas where you injuries are more happening for us athlete in jiu-jitsu. And also we'll be talking about the root and the source of the injuries. So what was the initial start of that injuries, and what caused it to happen to later for you to get that injury, where it started from, where you could have fixed whatever need to be fixed for you to not reach that injury side. And also I'll be talking a bit some scenario where you can find those injuries, where it's basically from my experience and from what I saw during training. And also you will be able to share some of the same things experience that you've been through also. And lastly we'll be finishing up on how to prevent those injury, what to do, what not to do, and how to apply all what I said easily in your future role. So yeah, and in between, if you guys need have any question or anything, just let us know, and we will bring you up. Then you guys just shoot your question.
Yeah, so just two notes before we start properly. This session is recorded because Yasin wants to use this on his personal pages, so it's just for educational purposes. And secondly, yeah, I don't own this session, so if anyone wants to join on stage, I think Clubhouse is great because it makes the podcasting experience interactive. So even if you don't have a question and you just want to come on stage and kind of go in and out of conversation, please just raise your hand. I'll be happy to bring you on stage, and we can have like a group chat instead of just me talking to Yasin. But if you're not keen on that, just raise your hand to ask your question at any time.
Yeah, let's make this session more like a conversation than it just a talk. It should be more fun.
That's right. Cool. Let's just start with broad questions. What common injuries do you see that happens on the mat, specifically for grapplers or Jiu Jitsu players?
So first, before I explain more about like the common kind of injuries, first I'll just some brief info I'll give you, like you might not notice it, but like the areas of injuries for is like more common in training than in competition. The reason for that is because like when we go training, we have 2 hours of trainings going on, and we'll be starting up with our warm up, some drills, and repeating some movements, some techniques that our professor will be teaching us. Then after that, we'll be moving to just free rolling, which will be like 5 minutes each round. And once we finish one, we get either 30 seconds rest or 1 minute rest. We take the other one. And comparing competition is like you go on the mat, you fight, you give your 100% with your opponent. If you win, then you get to do 2 to 3 fights afterwards. But the gap of time between your next fight is sometimes 30 minutes or even 1 hour, so you have time to rest before your other fights. So the gap of the recovery time in between rolls are longer in competition, and in training is shorter. So that's why in training people are more prone to injury, because like the gap of recovery is shorter, and then in the end you get some physical fatigue, and it's mostly because of physical fatigue that we lead to some injuries. And also some other points where people are more prone to injuries is depend on years you've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and how frequent also you train. If you train 2 times per week, your body is getting enough time to recover. But if you're training 3 times per day and 7 times a week, then you are really prone to injury, because your body is training every day and the recovery is like really short in between. So as you asked just now about the type of injuries, is mostly sprain, strain, some muscular distension, which is just some kind of muscle injuries. Those major injury that we is rarely seen, but it happens, is those dislocation or fracture. But those one will be mostly happening in competition, as your opponent is no more your sparring partner at that time. Both of you are going for the win, so they will give the 100%, and they won't slow down on the submission. So these are the time we might face some injuries. These are some type. And as for some major area I saw, and I even myself I experienced as injuries, is mostly around the elbow, wrist, and knee and ankle. These one are really prone to injury, as like these are your extremities. These are more like kind of surface of your body that is more exposed to your opponent. So they always have control. Like when we roll, we always like grab the sleeve of our partner, or the pants, or the elbow, or the wrist. Just to have it control, right? So it's always when there is a contact with it, and then there is the rolling going on. Either it's not turning in the proper direction, or it's like your opponent is applying too much force, then it's causing that injury around this place. But regarding your shoulder and your hip, it's mostly the injury around these area mostly happen not because of your sparring partner being too rough on you, but it's mostly due to your own body. Either your shoulder or your hip is lacking some mobility or some flexibility. Those kind of things that leads to those kind of injuries. And another area where also depend on flexibility, mobility, is also our neck and our lower back. We often we go back after training, the next morning we're waking up, we feel like so pain around our neck, or so pain around our back. This is mostly due, it's not because of your sparring partner being too rough on you on the rolls or stuff like that, but it's mostly due to a lack of mobility and flexibility around those area of your own body. And since we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a really we do a lot of compound movement. Compound movement is like where you use several joint and several muscle at the same time for one movement. So that's why our joints, like our shoulder joint, elbow, wrist, like those I mentioned, are like more prone to injuries. So basically, this is a bit an idea where you will be, where we face more injury, and the reason why. Like I told you guys, for the elbow, wrist, and knee and ankle are more prone, because either your opponent or your sparring partner is grasping it, and while you and the other side is struggling, then it turn in another side, or there is not enough strength. That's where it goes an injury. Or for your shoulder and your hip, it's like based on mostly on your own body movement. So you're lacking some mobility and flexibility there. So when you're rolling, you can't move your shoulder easily to do some escape, or you can't move your hip properly. So for you to do some attack like the triangular choke or stuff like that, and you leave yourself, it's your own self who's causing the injury. And yeah, and like I told you, those type of injury we mostly found is sprain and strain. Sprain is mostly like ligaments, where you twist your elbow, twist your knee, then your ligament get inflamed, and then you get your pain. And if really serious one, then it will be teared. Like strain is mostly towards like the muscle, where the muscle attached to the bone, those region. And muscle distension is mostly around the big bulk of the muscle happening the injury. So this is a rough idea of how you get it, where you get it, and what type of get it. Last one, from based on your question you just asked me, is about the mechanism of the injury. So we have different source of injury. Later on I will talk more about it in the scenario, but just a brief idea of it is when you have like some takedown. These are some common time where there's an injury might happen. When there is an immobilization, by immobilization I mean like when someone take you an armbar, a kimura, a triangular choke, and you're stuck in a position, and you're forcing to remove your part of your body from one side to move it to the other side, while it's being stuck in your opponent's legs or arms. And you have some sweep also, which also almost leads to the takedown scenarios. And you have some there's a term that they use, I saw in few articles, they call it the bottleneck mechanism. What it means like your, I guess most of you will notice about it. You have one side of your body where you feel it's always weak, or this is your weakness, and if you see your sparring partner going there, you will know you will struggle to go out, because like maybe your hip is too weak, or maybe on your left side you're more weak to do some escape. So those, your weakness is called a bottleneck. So sometimes when your sparring partner is rolling with you and going in those area where it's like that's your weakness, and because it's, you know, it's your weakness, and you're trying to escape from the attacks that they are doing, that's where you get, it's a one of the mechanism you most common to get an injury. So
it sounds like it's more complicated than I thought. It's not a muscle sprain and then I can ice it and rest. Like, you're bringing up mobility, flexibility.
That's why when for us, like how, like I will, for me, how I see it is like when I was doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu before I started studying physio, I was like, I had the same kind of vision like you guys all might think of injury. What's injury? It's like, okay, I got hit here, is that the pain? Or I got some pain there, is because during that roll, it's just during that roll. But what happened during that roll that caused that? Why you couldn't move that part? So you didn't know those terms like mobility, flexibility. That's the importance of that. So now from after I did my study in physiotherapy, I got that knowledge of the human body and how it works related to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is like, then I got to understand like what I need to fix for that injury to not happen. So that's why today I want to give you that exposure, that awareness, that to open a bit your mind around injuries and what are the leading cause to those injuries.
Okay, so as I understand, I think we need to dive deeper into the complexities to fully understand, but just because we're still just doing an initial understanding of injuries, what do you think that we can all do to kind of at least mitigate the risks? You know, is it like doing a good warm-up? And if so, what is a good warm-up to you?
So these are mostly like a good warm-up. Let's keep this part. I'll explain to you, like just now I explained about the areas of injury, but I want to explain to you guys about, like just now, the type, the area, and the mechanism of injury, right? So let's go one step behind and go back to the source of the injury. First, you need to understand the source of that injury, then to know how to fix it.
Right.
I'll just go briefly, not too in detail. Later on, we can do another session on the source, more detail. So, basically, few source like I pin out, like from my experience and my knowledge in physiotherapy, what are the cause of people getting in those kind of injuries is because of like they have some muscle imbalance. So as muscle imbalance, it means like your whole body is consists of right and left, front and back. So in between front and back, you need to have a balance of between the muscle in front and behind. And for right and left, for the muscle on the right and the left, you need a balance in between. So when sometime, let's say we are like for me, for example, I'm right-handed, so my dominant side is right side. So for you just now, if you can just look into, even though look, if you're a regular practice of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just look in between your two hands or your arms from right to left. You might see, because you use more of your grip strength from the right, you might see the right side is slightly bigger. So these are called muscle imbalance. So we need to know, we need to always train both sides. So this is one source. Another source is like people training in physical fatigue. So when you're really tired, at a point your muscle won't follow whatever your mind is saying. Sometimes they tell you, we need, our professor always tell you to keep a strong mind and and keep on going. It's true. It's good for your own self to have a good performance, but sometimes you need to understand to relate to your body also how fatigued you are, because when your body is tired and let's say you want to grab someone or you want to hip escape towards someone, because of the muscle fatigue, once you try to hip escape, the muscle is too tired to do that action, that particular hip escape action, that it will give you either a muscle tear or a sprain or a twist over your knee or ankle while you're doing it, because the muscle is tired already, so they can't hold on your body, but you're still trying to move your body. I don't know if you guys you're getting what I want to say, but for your body to move, you need control over your muscle. But when you don't have the control and you try to move it, that's where you get the injuries. You get it? So these are the two sources that you might get injuries later on. Why? And another one is like a lot of people I saw, they do jiu-jitsu, but also outside they do their own training, like they go to the gym or they do their own workout at home and stuff like that. That's good, that's totally fine and everything. But what's the area that they need to focus more is they need to focus on about like how to what kind of training to do. Don't just do bench press, don't just do deadlift and stuff like. These are big names of exercise that common people will be doing, but like you need to look more into like when you're training, when you're doing, let's say you're doing a triangular choke, you need your legs to be strong. It's true when you do squats, your leg will start getting stronger, but try to do some variation. Go explore more different types of exercise. I won't talk in detail about exercise today, it's too long, but just take a note when you're doing your home workout to the gym. Don't just stick with the standardized exercise like most people be doing: deadlift, bench press, bicep curl. Oh, these are like common one. Go more into like the movement that you do in jiu-jitsu. Try to add some weight and try to replicate that movement, stuff like that. Like a simple example is, for you to do a good hip escape, you need some good strength over your back muscle of your leg, your hamstring, and your glutes. So for you to, like, say you're doing squat, yeah, that's good, but the movement of the squat is not the same movement when you're doing a hip escape, right? So something to mimic a bit that movement of the hip escape is you take some weight, you put on your abdomens, and you do some pelvic bridging. Just some bridging, not the one we do with in jiu-jitsu where we reach our hand backwards. Just lifting the butt up. It's part of the hip escape. For you to hip escape, you need to lift your hip up, then you push it out, right? So when you start, you break the hip escape into the movement it is. So there is a pelvic bridging happening in it. So that's one exercise that you can explore more. So that's one thing, like correct, like those source of injury, like how I say muscle imbalance, uh, the physical fatigue, and the outside training that you guys do. Go explore more about, like, just if you guys can just jot down those terms and read more about it. Is there are some simple notes online. You guys get a better education and get an awareness of what it is, what I was talking, and try to relate it to your own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style. So it's all about those things. These are the sources that we need to correct it to prevent any kind of injuries from happening. So
it's an point you bring up about fatigue, because as martial artists we always want to keep going and keep going and keep going, but I suppose there's a point where we need to be humble and say, like, look, maybe I need like a 5-minute rest.
Yeah, that's what I meant by, like, we need to do that. It's like how our professor, like, mental strength is good in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It helps you, especially those who do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the competition level. You need that mental strength. When someone take you down, you're losing by so many points, you need that mental strength to keep on pushing and go more explosive and stuff like that. But in the same side, mostly, like how I said, injuries happen more in training. So in training, there is no competition, there is no winning or losing. It's all about learning there. So it's okay. Sometimes if you did 3 rolls, the 4th one someone is inviting you, it's okay to say, you know what, I need just a rest. You can even just rest 1 round, and the next round you start taking on again. It's just about, like, giving a longer gap of recovery for your body to rest a bit than to go again. So it's good sometimes, like, we need to, it's not always like just like every day parada, just go keep on going, never saying no, or just going. It's because, like, when you're in a state of fatigue, like physical fatigue, no matter how many rolls you take, your body, you're not gaining any more muscle, or you're not gaining any knowledge from it, because you're not in control of your body. You don't know what your body is going on, and later on you lead to an injury where you need to rest. You need to be out of the mat for 2 weeks to 3 weeks.
That's right. That's where training smart comes in, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to go, you want to keep going, but you have to kind of stop pressing on the gas pedal, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm also interested in specific movements in Jiu-Jitsu. Like, what you have people who like to go for takedowns or playing guard. I think after a while we develop hunched shoulders.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing guard, your neck is up, and I'm just wondering, like, after spending a lot of time in specific movements, do you see, like, the risk of injury in specific positions kind of go up? And for example, if we like to play a position, how do we kind of manage that risk?
So it come to, like, how you were saying just now. You were saying about, like, people. There are some people, because they feel comfortable playing the bottom game, so they're more flexible. They feel like that's their zone. So any fight, they will try to go in their zone and try to control from there, and from there on to start, like, developing the game, whatever how the fight is going. Or there are some people who like to be top player, because they know down, they don't have they don't move easily and stuff like that. So I respect that, but when it comes to, like, I respect, because even me, so I have a preference. Either I play for top or bottom. Definitely I prefer top, because I know myself, my flexibility is bad down. But what we need to understand in that is, like, it's about, like, don't stay in your comfort zone. So because, like, you need to, even though when it comes to competition, you won't go, like, let's say, like, for me, for example, I like to play top game, but for competition I will always seek for the top position, but that doesn't mean I will always just train from the top. So you need to balance that. That's where you will get a lot of muscle imbalance, like how you say, will be people who be playing guard. They tend, because their neck is always active, they're always, like, flexing and waiting for the top player to pass and for them to go out, right? So it's all about like those is that's where people tends to develop muscle imbalance, because they feel comfortable more with the right side than the left side. They will use more of the right side. They feel comfortable more down than top, they will play more down. So that's where the muscle that are responsible when you're playing top game start to get being like less dominance, and the one down is like more is more active than the other muscle or the other group of muscle. So that's where you develop and the condition like I talk about, muscle imbalance. So
Yeah.
it's like for me that since I started like learning from physiotherapy, learning all those terms, learning why the cause of this and that.
Yeah.
So I started like whenever I'm in the class, the professor will be teaching a technique. Even though my right side is the dominant side, I'm more comfortable with the right side. I will always try to break it down. I'll do 5 on the right side, five on the left side. Even though
Right.
it might never happen that I will be like rolling in the competition and I'll be using the technique with my left side, but I'm just doing it for the sake of for me to work my body evenly. Like I told you, we have front muscle, back muscle. We have muscle on the right, muscle on the left. So whatever is in front need to be balanced with whatever is at the back, and whatever is on the right need to be balanced with the left. So that's a tips for you guys. If you notice you have those kind of muscle imbalance, if you see when you see yourself in the mirror, you see like your right side of the body the muscle growth is a bit slightly bigger compared to the
Yep.
left side. So
Yep.
that's where that's one of the cause was like maybe you prefer more your right side, so you always play with the right side, you always practice your techniques with the right side. So that's where it causes the injury. So why another way it can cause the injury is like, let's say you practice a technique on the right side, yeah. So the day that come and a partner or even in competition, someone take you a technique, let's say a defense technique, you're learning more on the right side because you're more good on the right. So let's say one day someone take you an attack and on your left side, and you're trying to use that technique on the left side. Your body might know the movement of how it is, but the smoothness of the movement, the speed of the movement, and the strength of the movement won't be the same, because you always train it on the right side. You know it how to do it with your right side, but you don't have the enough baggage to do it on the left side. So when you're trying to perform it, that's where you can get an injury, because your muscle is not ready to do that particular move. Then you just happen like either the guy will see the movement is not that smooth and will see a space and will try to either escape or move progress on his attack, or you will hurt yourself by because of like some muscle tear or some muscle pull or something like that.
So are you saying when we talk about muscle imbalance, you're saying that like maybe the side that is a bit weaker in your body, it's pulling harder than the other side, and then that might cause an injury?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, like simple example out of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you're every day you go to work, and let's say that your bag of work is contained about like 5 to 10 kg, and you always carry it on your right side because you're more comfortable on your right dominance, you're stronger there, you always carry it there. And then the
Right.
next moment you got a fracture on your right where you need to use your left hand. Automatically you will see the difference where you will feel the bag of work is more heavier compared when you will use to take it on the right. And that's
Right.
that's what I want to mean by the muscle imbalance.
Yeah, I'm also just thinking for a lot of us who work in an office and we're sitting down for maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be a leading cause of imbalance. Yeah, like your posture is always in that kind of H shape, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go to training after like 5 hours of sitting down, my goodness, your body's kind of folding and kind of twisting and turning. That must be really rough.
Yeah, it's definitely like this one out of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu concept. Any person who and you work for 5 to 6 hours without standing up or moving your body, it's not advisable.
Yep.
It's not good, because like your body is like you're using, like let's say you're typing, right? So you're using a lot of your muscle in front for you to reach, to bring your arm forward, and for you to bend a bit forward to focus on your laptop. So what's happening right now is like when you're doing that movement, your muscle in front are contracting for 5 to 6 hours constantly.
Right.
It's the same concept when you're using your phone. We always look down because the phone is at the hand level, right?
Yeah.
So when you use your phone for long hours, what you mean, like your neck muscle is being like contracting for a long period of time. Then after you stop using your phone, everyone, I guess you have experienced it, you feel your neck is like kind of a stiffness over there.
Yeah.
So definitely you need to add movement in your lifestyle. You do jiu-jitsu, yeah, that's good, but in terms of work and sitting down for 5 to 6 hours, that's not advisable. Try to work 1 hour or 30 minutes every 1 hour. Stand up, do some walking, some back stretch, just move around a bit, just change your posture of you sitting at the office. That's your next posture is the best posture, that they always say.
Right. The next posture is the best posture.
Yeah, because like it's what I mean by that is like, just let's say for 2 hours you were sitting down and like working in a position like hunching forward and stuff like that. So just suddenly you feel like, okay, I need to change the posture. What happened when you're changing the posture, you're giving some stretch to the muscle that was just now contracting for you to be in the previous posture.
Right.
So that's why your next posture is giving a benefit, is stretching the muscle that was like stuck in one position. Then after 30 to 1 hour, you move to the third position. So changing your posture differently will help you have a better posture for yourself in the future.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it, man. Next posture is posture.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, we're talking about muscle imbalances and stuff. It sounds like the muscles are always engaged as well, right? Like when you're typing, when you're looking at the phone.
For anything. Like I say, like we were built. Our body was built for movement, and for movement to happen, we need the muscles contracting for the movement to happen.
Right. So, what do you think of activities that promote flexibility? Since we're always in flexion, how about like yoga? What are your thoughts about yoga?
Yoga is good. It's a good, based on the science part of it, is a really good thing. It's a good concept of exercise. You get yoga and Pilates. These are some even in physio, we use a lot of our exercise that we give to people is one of the source from Pilates exercise or yoga exercise. But yoga, bear in mind, yoga is not just about stretching. It's about because you get a lot of conditioning from it. You get a lot of core strengthening. It's also is a part of strengthening. It's not just about working your flexibility. Flexibility is part of it, but there is a part of strengthening coming into it when you do your 1 hour session of yoga and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. So, yeah. Sorry.
Earlier you asked about like how we can prevent those injuries happening in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from there, like my advice is like for us to prevent that is just no big. I won't tell you to do a big change in your game or whatever. Just now, previously is just a knowledge of an awareness of how to see your body in Jiu-Jitsu in the future when you train. But how to prevent those injuries from happening, or for even like prevent an injury from happening, always when you go to class or you're going for competition, do a really, really good warm-up, a good 30 minutes of warm-up. That's why we're in all the gym when they do, apart from open mat, we have the drills to do.
Right. 30 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, a good 30 minutes is quite decent to do as a warm-up. And do specific warm-up. Like I got in Malaysia, we used to do it with Prof. Bruno. I saw he always do some specific warm-up. Like by specific warm-up, I mean like if today's lesson he will teach about triangular choke, he will give us like some drill which is related to the triangular choke. So we'll be like either rocking forward and backward. Then afterwards, we'll be doing some rocking backward with our hip going up and closing in the triangular shape. So this is considered like, sometimes people, you might not notice why the coach is making you do that, but these are called like specific warm-up, which is like it's a specific warm-up to prepare your body for the whatever technique your coach will be teaching.
That's right.
And for later on, for you not to get an injury, because like if straight away we start the class, okay, we'll be doing just triangular choke, you just start doing like that, and we go like 5 minutes, the one on top try to defend, the type down try to close in triangular choke, definitely you will get few people who come out of the class with injuries. So a good warm up, 30 minutes, do your drills. Before I started doing physio, I used to hate drills in a way. Like I guess a lot of people they always hate it, because like we just want to roll and have some fun, right?
Right.
So, but drills, when I started like going through my course, learning about the anatomy, all those specific the human body, how it works, then I understand how important the drill is. So a drill is important, like how I tell you, it's a specific warm up for whatever, how the class will be going on the next 1 hour, the next 2 hours.
Right.
So it prepares the muscles that will need to be worked later on. And also when you do drills, it's same for how I was telling you guys for regarding the muscle imbalance. When you do a technique, the professor teach you guys a technique, don't do just on your right side. Don't do on your left side, whatever is comfortable. Do both right and left. So when it comes to drill, let's say for hip escape, there's no drill where it tell you we do hip escape only on the right side and that's it. We always hip escape right, left, right, left, right, left. So when we do the warm up, we do the drills, it's a good way of training both sides, either front or back muscle together, or is like training right and left, because we need to do it in a sequence, right, left, until the end of the mats, then we go for the next drill, right? So don't neglect your drills. Take it into your mind when you're doing it, even though you hate it, but tell yourself that you're doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it to correct my muscle imbalance, or to improve my coordination in right side and left side.
Yeah.
So yeah, drills and good warm up is really important.
Yeah.
To
Sounds
prevent
like
injuries.
Yeah.
And yeah, technical warm up, and also technical exercise. Also, like how I told you, if you know you're struggling with some hip escape, do some pelvic bridging. It's a breakdown of the hip escape movement, just to prepare the muscle and get some strength in that muscle to activate those muscles. Then later on, try to do your hip escape. You will notice a difference, definitely.
Right. So it's interesting. Like we've been talking about warm ups and whatnot. What about cool downs?
Yeah, cool downs also is something like really important. That's a good question. Yeah, cool down is something really underrated, and a lot of people don't, because normally cool down, either the coach will do some light cool down, or else the class will just finish after some roll, and everyone just either go to take a shower, go just make a group and talk. That's it. They won't do the cool down. So the importance of cool down, why it's important, and how you can get injured if you don't do the proper cool down is like, because you're just now, you just roll for about 1 hour or 2 hours, right? So your body is really hot, and suddenly you just stop it and you go in the shower. The change of temperature can lead to an injury later on, or even like the next day, the soreness of the next day, it will be less if you do a proper cool down. So by cool down is good that you do a good and long stretching, to 15 to 30 seconds of stretching of your whole body. I won't go in detail about what kind of stretching. I think this one, I guess most of you guys might know how to do it, but don't neglect the cool down. What's my point right now is the cool down. It helps you to bring back because like when you've been rolling for 1 to 2 hours, your blood circulation being spread all around your body, and your heart is pumping at a really high speed. So you need to start slowing down. You can't just like stop if you stop a car. Let's say the car is going to 100 kilometers per hour, and suddenly you just want to brake it and apply the brake, and you can't just stop it, right? So you need to slowly bring it down. So it's the same for our body. So we need to bring the heartbeat to the normal level. So that's where the cool down comes in. So a good stretching, you can do some good mobility movement also while doing your cool down. And this will help to bring back all the deoxygenated blood back to the heart, and repump oxygenated blood all around the body. Bring down your breathings, You can even do some breathing exercise to help you in cooling down. So this is really important, which later on will help you to don't get that huge soreness the next day or the next few hours, and also will help you also improve your flexibility because your body is already warm right now. So when you try to stretch, it helps you improve your flexibility.
Right. Just a reminder for everyone in the room, if you have any questions, big or small, or anything to say, just raise your hand and I'll bring you up on stage, yeah? So, oh yeah, now we've got someone coming on stage. I think JG is coming up. But yeah, okay, so you've mentioned a little bit about cooling down. How about once we get home and then, nutrition in general? What do you think food... what role does nutrition play in injury prevention?
Yeah, nutrition is like, in terms of, I'm still learning about it, but whatever I know, I'll share with you. And if some people in the room know better, you're most welcome to share with me also. I'll learn. But from what I know, nutrition is an important key in terms of your recovery and stuff like that. So knowing what to eat, like there are a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like to eat acai of the training, of the competition. The reason why acai is a good meal of the training is because it's an antioxidant fruit, where it helps to remove all the toxin from your body easily. So that's one side. That's the reason why acai is so popular, because it's a really good antioxidant. But nutrition, about like hydration also, is really important. So for you, after you've been training or either competing, you have some lactic acid that start accumulating from the muscle fatigue. So you need, in order to remove that, you need to start giving your body some the good food, the good hydration. So when you be eating, all your muscle will be absorbing all the good food. So don't just, if you finish training, don't just go get some oily food and stuff like that. That's will be absorbing in your muscles straight away, and that won't be good for your recovery. So what you can do, get some good fruits, some good protein food like chicken, meat, or fish. Or if you're vegetarian, get some good amount of protein, plant source like chickpeas, those one. Just after a training, it's really important for your. It's mostly for your recovery, not it's mostly for your, for nutrition is important for your recovery. Not it's not a source where it leads to injury, but a bad recovery will lead to injury. So that's why. So if you for the recovery, you give a good nutrition for your own recovery, that will prevent the injury from happening.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit, but I just want to welcome JG. You have a question for Yasin, or do you have something to say?
Yeah, I have a question. Thanks, Lucian, for inviting me on stage. Thanks, Yasin, for giving really good tips.
Most
Now
welcome.
that I look back at my gym, that they provide the acai bowl, I was like, okay, that's really good. My question was just from personal experience, because I like to play a lot of basketball, but a couple of years ago, I was making a move when I was dribbling, and suddenly felt like my foot was shot.
Yeah.
Turns out it was plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
And I got really nervous. Like, now I don't do jumping when I do like exercises. Like say I go to boxing workout, like they ask me to do burpees, I won't do the jump version.
Because you're scared of that thing to happen again, is it?
Yeah. It's like the lack of. I try to be more conservative. Like, I'll take out all jump options. I guess I just want to figure out what's the balance in terms of like making sure it doesn't happen again. Because I heard stories like once you have plantar, it will never leave you. Stuff like, so it sounds so scary. So, but I do like working out. So I just want to hear what's your personal tips.
So for that question, I understand what you mean, but like you need to understand, like, okay, like some people say like once you get it, you will never get rid of it or whatever. But in terms of like the physio aspect, what I can tell you is like it's not like you can't get rid of it. It's just like compared to a person who don't have that pain and will get it in the, like say in whatever training they will do, and compared to you're training at the same time, the same training, you're more prone to get it because you already injured that particular area. but that doesn't mean like you can't, you need to stop any jumping, movement or anything that will provoke the injury, because like when you go like that, then you're limiting one part of your body movement. And also you need to put in your mind also, like, because right now there's two factors like causing you from not doing those things, is like the fear of not getting it, which is considered to be psychological, and the injuries that you got before. So those two add-on together will definitely limit your movement later on. So my advice for that is like, you still can do jumping. It's just about like you retrain, doing the proper exercise to treat the plantar fasciitis. So what you can do is like a lot of ankle stretching. You can even take just a wooden stick and just roll your feet on it, especially around the arch over there. And you can do a lot of tiptoe exercise to strengthen the muscle around there. So it's just about like focus, do a some, like if you told me you like to work out, just plan a small workout just for that area. Just go online, read a bit about plantar fasciitis, look for you can check plantar fasciitis physio rehab. So definitely you get a loads of video on that. They will teach you like what you can do by yourself, not exactly you need to go for a physio session. If you like to work out, so you'll be familiar to whatever exercise you're telling you. So you can just do that, and I'm sure you will be able to jump again and play your sports. But don't, to everyone in the room, don't limit yourself. Once you get a pain or once you get an injury, afterwards, once you recover from that, don't create that fear in your mind like, okay, last time I did some basketball, then I got that pain, I don't want that pain again, so I'll stop those movement, or I'll stop that sport. No, keep in mind like you want to go back to that movement to be able to play that. So don't create that fear in your mind, because when sometimes you might have like for you, JJ, you might have recovered from your problem, but because of you have the fear in your head, your injury might reoccur more easily. So you need to be like bring more some confidence in your head, like by doing the rehab exercise, like how I told you, with a stick, and just looking for other exercise, some tiptoe exercise, start building up. You will feel some confidence is building up around your ankle region, and slowly returning back to those jumping activities, basketball and stuff like that. And then afterwards, you'll be more good to go with your lifestyle, with your jumping and stuff like that.
Thanks so much for sharing that tip, especially on the fear element.
Yeah.
Can I ask another fear-related question?
Sure.
Yep.
In KL, what I noticed was there was a trend of people that go for spinning classes, and after they go for spinning class for the first time, I was reading the story about this one lady. She experienced rubble and she didn't know what it was, and it totally freaked her out. So, what was your experience seeing people that went through a spin class for the first time, and like their body, I guess, was like totally shocked, and especially their legs, and then when they had the rubble issues, and what can be done to not just, I guess, recover from rubble, but also overcome the fear as well. But I guess you point out like key tips in terms of like mentally, like look for tips how to recover your basic key areas. So I just want to hear what's your experience seeing people that went through extreme muscle fatigue. I guess that's the main issue with like spinning or circuit training.
Yeah, the wobble happen because of muscle fatigue. Is like if you've been through workouts, definitely you experience sometime when you're after a huge set, especially if you're doing leg day, you're walking out like not properly on your feet. You feel your legs is going to leave you, right?
Yeah, like jelly.
Yeah. So that's the wobble effect.
Problem, but I saw people come out of class again, and it looked so scary. Like, and they were like, "Oh, but I did cycling before." But I said, "Spinning is totally different."
Yeah, but it's like spinning. I didn't came across any of my patient with those in those kind of sports, but from what I understand, spinning is quite intense and explosive kind of exercise with the bike and everything. So from that is like, it's just, your question was about the fear of people. They do one class and afterwards, because of the wobbling and the pain, they don't want to go anymore. It's just about, because like, let's say you're not let's say like for you, okay, you work out. Let's say for me, I don't work out at all. I'm just I just do my things, go to work, that's it. Then suddenly I sign up for a class, and then I do that kind of intensity. What the reason why we get the wobble or the intense pain is because before that our body wasn't prepared enough. It's just like, it's a new things. It's some new muscle is being activated. It's like some new group of muscles been working out. Let's say, I always like how we were talking about just now, some people in the office, they always sit down and stuff and don't move their leg mostly for 5 to 6 hours. Be sitting down, the leg will be resting. So the next moment I just sign up in a class of spinning, where I'll be moving my two legs for 1 or 2 hours at a big intensity. Is definitely, that's what will be coming afterwards, the wobbling, the muscle pain. It's totally normal. So from the recovery from that is just do like a cool down, a good cool down, stretch a lot every day, just to let the muscle get its flexibility again. uh, Hydration, and do some other exercise to start preparing your body for your next spinning classes. Don't quit. Don't because of some pain, like how I told you for your ankle, and even like for what you just said for the spinning. Don't let any pain create a fear like, okay, I got that pain, I don't want it anymore, it's over, it's done in my list, I won't take it anymore. No, try not to create that fear in your head. So just find the fix of it. So the fix for that is just get a good, let's, if you're not used to do exercise and you go to spinning, before the next spinning class, start doing some exercise at home for your leg, like squat, lunges, and stuff like that. Start putting more exercise in your body to prepare for that spinning. Like how I said earlier, for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, when you're doing, before we go for an advanced technique, we do um, some specific training, some specific movement that later on will be is a warm up for later on, we'll use it in the training. So it's just about preparing the body before going for that. Don't just limit yours. Don't let the pain be the fear from you, limiting you to go to do your movements.
Good answer, Yasin.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Welcome.
And Jay, you have to start Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, man. Stop playing basketball.
I'm more of like I like to do the boxing element because I guess I'm in my 40s. Like I heard like you gotta at least have the strike element. But yeah, I never done jiu-jitsu before.
Yeah,
So
Jiu Jitsu is there's no age limit. You can just start and you will enjoy it, man.
Yeah, Jay, you're in KL, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll meet up. I'll take you to my gym.
Oh, cool. And I'll take you to my gym. You can do some cardio boxing.
Nice. Okay, cool. So let's move on to we've touched a bit on nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Yasin?
Yeah.
How about sleep? What is the role of sleep in injury prevention and recovery?
It's like same like for nutrition. The same like nutrition and sleep. Like, okay, for nutrition and sleep, you have it in two phase. So there is a part before training. So you need to have a good sleep and a good nutrition before you go for your training. Just don't go say, okay, I woke up or I haven't had my breakfast, but I have class at that time. I'll just go like that. No, it's you might be able to do the training, but you're hurting yourself. You're hurting your body. You're not doing it right. So sleep is important for the recovery. A good 6 to 8 hours of sleep, good hours, is good for any recovery after a good training. So what happens is, like, when at night, when you're sleeping, is now like your muscle is getting the rest. They start like using all the foods that you take in, start absorbing them, and start like nourishing. It's like if now your muscle is like, because you're not moving your body, so in a way it's now that your muscle is being like getting their time to have their dinner in a way. So they're feeding on the nutrients, the food that you take in after your good nutrition. So during the sleep, because you're not doing any movement, so the muscle is not contracting, it's not moving, so they're resting also. So they get a good rest, then they will be ready for the next day. So if you reduce your sleeping hour, not reduce, but if you neglect your sleeping hours definitely it will lead to injury, because like how I said, your muscle need to rest also. Like how you're sleeping is, in a way, it's like you're making your body to sleep. Your muscle are not moving. So if you just give them 2 hours, 4 hours, and you go for a training, they haven't recovered yet. So the muscle fatigue is not at zero level yet. It's still, let's say, 20 or 30. So that accumulate to the next training, accumulate, then later on lead to snap, and then you've got an injury. So sleep and nutrition is a combined thing for your recovery. Definitely, it's something like don't neglect it, and don't neglect it, and make more digging on it to know how to do your recovery, what suits you, what kind of recovery, what kind of hydration you need, what kind of food you like, because there's a variety of food you can take for your nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just don't neglect it. Go do some homework and read on it if you want to have a better performance in your Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or whatever sports that you do.
Yep.
Don't neglect those facts.
I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper into sleep. Like a lot of people say you need about 6 to 8, maybe 9 hours sleep. But is there a difference between good quality sleep and bad quality sleep? Like, is there an optimum time you should be sleeping? Say, like, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Because if you sleep later, maybe you're going into bad quality sleep area.
This one I won't be going like I won't like it's just from my experience mostly, because like in terms of sleeping hours, each one has their own sleeping hours, sleeping pattern based on their work, their lifestyle, whatever is keeping them busy at night, or whatever keeping them busy in the day. But it's all about like getting a good 6 to 8 hours. That's the standard thing. And having a bad sleep definitely will affect your next day. And if let's say one bad sleep, it's still fine. But if let's say in 7 days in a week, all constantly like 6/7, you have only 4 to 5 hours of sleep, you will start feeling the effect of not having a good sleep. You will start being more slow, even in your productivity, in your hustle. You won't be able, you won't be at your 100 max. So when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you don't have a good sleep, when you go to roll, in your head you might feel like, okay, I'll go for rolling. But when it's a time come when you need to like, you will lead to physical fatigue faster than someone like had a good sleep and came eat properly before training and came, compared to you just having not enough sleep, didn't eat anything, and just came to training. Definitely your performance, and I'm talking by experience. Few times it happens, I woke up, oh, I'm late for training, I won't have time to eat, I just drink something, it's fine. Like I just go to training, but afterwards when I compare that day and another day when I had some pre-workout meal, I slept properly, that I compare my performance in some of my roles, I feel the difference. Then you find out like what's the importance of having all those facts all together. It's all those, whatever I said, is all a combination. So you can't just do, okay, I'll sleep well but I won't eat well. So that it works, but for you to get a good outcome, you need to, all those components, they merge together to give you a better results. It's not you to pick with whatever I said, whatever you sound like for you sounds nice, you'll do it. Like how I told you, warm up and drills, for some people it's something like they hate, or they will come late to class just not to do the warm up, and just straight away some professors will say, okay, just go in, but some professor will tell you, do your warm up and come in.
Right.
So all those things you add on is a cycle. Like you need to do all of them for you to get that performance, that to get improving performance and to stay away from injuries. That's the two factor. If you want to reach that goal, if you want to live with that standard, without like keep on increasing your performance, getting better, improving in your submission, in your training, in your even at work, and if you want to not to experience, because I know everyone, they don't want to live with injury. Like how just now our friend said, he had a pain and now he's limiting himself in jumping. He likes basketball. I'm sure he will want to be able to jump again. So it's all about like giving you a good quality of movement every day. So you don't want to live with pain. So for you not to get those injury, not getting pain, do those things all together, it will lead to having a good life.
Yeah, you know what's tricky for me in my experience is this having an awareness of how fatigued I actually am. Because there are some days when I think I'm okay, then I get to the gym and I think after 15 minutes, it's boom, you know?
Yeah.
I feel so drained. So I think having that level of awareness of your mind and your body would help a lot, you know, and being consistent of, you know, sleeping at a good hour every day.
Yeah.
It's also about consistency, isn't it? Like,
that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah. Consistency is something like you need to have a certain level of consistency in your life to get in terms of athletic performance, being away from injuries and improving your performance. You need to have a consistency in those things I talk about. Yeah. And also one last thing, like just now at the beginning you was talking about like how to train smart. That's how you train smart. It's like you do your good warm up, you do your specific drill outside of training. When you're doing your own training in the gym and stuff like that, don't just go the common exercise. Explore more in terms of exercise. Explore more about, like, right nowadays we have the benefits of internet. There's so many knowledge out there. Like, you just don't need to be like an expert to be able to apply it. You read, you understand, you apply how much you understand. That will do the job. Yeah.
Cool, man. Hey, I think this is going to be an ongoing topic because there's so many things that we can talk about in terms of training, in terms of advanced or competition, or even
it's like the if you need to talk about like those things, it's quite broad. Like how when you approached me about to talk about it, I knew how broad it is. That's why I told you, like, okay, like let's break it down for these two topics for now. And let's see how it goes.
Yeah, let's keep doing this. Maybe we can do more specific sessions.
Sure, no worries.
For anyone in the room, if you like what you hear, this is Jitsomnia, and we focus mostly on grappling and Jiu Jitsu. But with mixed martial arts, sometimes we get into the striking arts as well, and martial arts, the mental side. Today we talked a little about injuries, but also as Yasin showed, the mental game comes into play as well. So I'm gonna cap it for this session, but if you're interested, just give us a follow or follow the club, and we'll do this again probably next week. So this is me signing off, Yasin. Thanks for joining us from Mauritius, man.
Thank you for the opportunity, and look forward for new session, meet new other people, and talk more about how we improve our jiu-jitsu rolling for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to hear you and your French accent, man. It's the best. It's with the French accent.
I lost my Malaysian English accent, so now I'm back to the French English accent.
Okay, we do one session just Malaysian accent, right?
Yeah.
When Jay was talking about plantar fasciitis, I was thinking about roti planta. I know you guys missed that. So.
Yeah, definitely. The Malaysian food, I'm missing it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good Sunday night. Have a good rest. Have a good sleep. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everyone. See you
soon. Good
night.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.